Good afternoon, Miami sports fans. Welcome to the Miami Sports Break. I'm Dave Eversole, joined as always by Jakari Givens, brought to you by the 5 Reasons Sport Network. How you doing, my man? Can you hear me, Jock?
Yeah, I hear you. I'm sorry.
Oh, there we go. No, it's all good, man. How's it going, bro?
It's going good. It's Wednesday, day before Christmas. Well, 2 days before Christmas. So, hey, we almost made it all the way through 2020. So, we got to look at it as a blessing, man.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of puts things in perspective here around the holidays, year end. Let's be thankful for everything that's going positive and supportive of those who are struggling, of course. And we want to just give you guys a little break during the day to kind of update you on everything that's going on in Miami sports. Have a lot to talk about, obviously, with the Dolphins and the Hurricanes, and of course the Miami Heat Open as well tonight at Orlando. So got a lot going on this week. It's a good time with the family around. Can catch up, watch some games, some bowl games going on.
You got NFL football on Friday.
The Dolphins play Saturday, which is a little bit odd. That might have caught some people off guard, but we're actually playing the Raiders on Saturday. So it's going to be good to bounce back off a win during a short week. So I know the Raiders are going to be without Derek Carr at quarterback. So I think that's something the Dolphins will be able to take advantage of. But want to take a look back at the New England game. Miami had a dominant performance, although the score wouldn't indicate a blowout, 22-12. Miami really put the hammer down and shut New England's running game down. They kept them out of the end zone, held them to 4 field goals. Cam Newton was not a factor, and it was great to see the Miami running game finally get back on track. So, Jock, what are your takeaways from the Dolphins getting New England knocked out of the playoff race?
Well, a long time coming. That's number one. It's been 20 years since we've heard the Patriots not going to be in the playoffs, so that's a big thing for us. And it's just felt good that Miami's in contention and you're beating New England. It felt like the change of guard. Seems like Buffalo and Miami are going to spearhead this division now. But number one thing I want to take away from this game is the running game. The offensive line, Robert Hunt especially, man, he's having a hell of a rookie season. They blocked very well and was able to gash Miami. And was able to gas the Patriots. So it was pretty good and nice sight. And Tua didn't have to do much. He was just able to play quarterback. It wasn't all on him to throw for 300-400 yards. And if Miami can do this for the rest of the season, I do foresee them winning one playoff game, depending on who the matchup is, obviously. But if they can run the football, that takes a lot of pressure off Tua. It doesn't put as much pressure on his receivers to get, how it just opens up the offense for them because, when you're running the football, it's demoralizing to the defense. And then also you have to think about it like this. If we can run the football, the play action game open up. The RPO, which is Tua's greatest strength, opens up because we're running the ball effectively. So you want to just take the good, which was the run game was awesome, and just continue to build off of it. And that's all you can just foresee with it. And Tua played an excellent game. He made right decisions. He did throw the one interception, which he was late on the out route. And you can't be late on out routes in the NFL because they will get picked off. But he did make great plays. He learned from his mistake, came down, seen the corner blitz, evaded it, made one guy miss and got in the end zone, which was a beautiful run by him. And then he added the second rushing touchdown. So you're just happy with the performance of how the Miami is playing. The defense is playing out of their mind, even though the Patriots offense is not a threat. They're playing very well. So
They did struggle a little bit with Myers there. He was about the only weapon on the day for New England. I think he finished with around 110 yards receiving, but Miami
and
didn't really.
and Xavier Howard creating his 10th turnover with the punch out of with the strip. With the forced fumble. So that was
Yeah,
pretty.
very opportunistic Howard's been. And I like the fact that week to week, Miami can kind of beat you in different ways, whether it's a defense and special teams type performance, whether it's the offense kind of wearing down the opponent with the running game. And it was good to kind of see Ahmed separate himself, I think, as the top running back in Miami. I'm going to go ahead and say that now. I think he is the best running back that we have. And finally, you see Matt Breida showing up a little bit. He ran very hard, which
I
he's
think
not
it.
known for breaking tackles. So,
I think that contributed to him getting more opportunities.
yeah. And like you said, Hunt was a beast. I know CK Parrott online on Twitter. Our own Chris Kaufman from 3 Yards Per Carry had a real nice thread on Twitter about Robert Hunt. He was just manhandling guys. He was pushing Ninkovich off the ball, which sprung that one run, and he's just really established himself at that right tackle position, which is going to be a question mark going into the season, obviously, with two rookies on the bookends with a rookie quarterback. There's a lot
And
of concern there, but
they play very well, both of them. Jackson Kenley has played very well. He's had his moments, and Robert Hunt has played well. So I think Miami has finally solidified those three offensive line spots. And
mhm.
if you want to throw Eric Flowers in there, which I feel like he's more of a stopgap player. I don't know if they're gonna, after his contract is up, is he gonna be there? But the Dolphins' offensive line is solid with those guys, and
Mhm.
obviously with Karras, I think it's probably gonna be his last year here. I think they're gonna draft the center most likely. So Miami's offensive line has been formidable. They had one bad game that we can really think of, and that was against the Broncos, which it was
Mhm.
terrible.
Yeah, that was a rough game for the whole team, but you're finally starting to see the depth with the Miami offensive line. Like we've got guys, not just a bunch of plug-ins and hope for the best. Like we have really finally NFL caliber offensive linemen, 6'7" deep. At least we can have some guys out there to where there's not such a huge drop off with the depth at the offensive line. So that's encouraging to see. We're going to need to lean on that running game, I think, in these next two matchups. Vegas has a lot of skill players. They can put up some points. I'm not sure with Mariota under center if they're going to be that much better or that much worse. It's hard to say.
I
He
don't.
showed flashes. I think
It's
he played pretty well actually when he
I
relieved Carr last week.
he poses more of a running threat, obviously, because he can flat out do his thing. But you never know; it could be a change of scenery. Because Mariota is not bad; he's had his moments in the NFL. It's just I think he needed a change of scenery, similar to Ryan Tannehill, who Tannehill took his spot. But I think Mariota is going to play very well within the offense. I do think this is Miami's playoff game because I feel like if Miami wins this game, I think Buffalo just depending on what happens in Week 16, Buffalo might not have much to play for. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, you don't know though. Pittsburgh's kind of starting to show
The
some
real,
struggles
yes,
there.
they're
So
really.
you don't know. They have two losable games on the back. You wouldn't think Pittsburgh would lose to Cincinnati, but I think they have the Browns and Baltimore left on their
No,
schedules.
they had a Colts and Browns.
Oh, cool. Okay. So they could theoretically lose the last two games, and week 17 could be very, very interesting. But Miami is to control their own destiny. If they win out, they're in the playoffs, plain and simple. And then the matchups will kind of take care of themselves. But the recipe that they're building is going to be a dominant defense with complementary offense until we can really get the explosive weapons to take that next level offensively. You
Yeah,
don't want to
that's
say,
you
go
can
ahead.
go ahead and say that Miami's ahead of schedule right now. Like I mean,
Mhm.
I just think the biggest thing that makes them ahead of schedule is not nothing they're doing on the field. It's just with the Brian Flores, who's coach of the year in my opinion, and Chris Greer. They set the president credit to Stephen Ross because he didn't get the sexy hire. The sexy hire would have been Harbaugh from Michigan. He shied away from that. He hired Flores and it's paying off for him. He made the right decision, and that's normally how dynasties start. Once you make that one good decision, it just starts flowing. Let's look at it, for instance, with the Patriots when they started their dynasty. Uh, Kraft went and got Belichick from the Jets. I think went and got him from the Jets, and then that was all she wrote.
Yeah, they've definitely turned the corner on the trajectory a little bit sooner than anticipated. And I like the fact that the team seems very cohesive. They're very disciplined. They're a smart, tough minded team, I think, in the mold of Brian Flores, which is good to see. I know we've talked about that in the past. Taking the identity of your coach in the NFL is a little bit differently than in college because the guys aren't impressionable. These are grown men. And I think that Flores has really set the tone in this organization, and I'm really excited to see this team take the next step after the next draft. And if they can make a playoff run this year, they're going to just have such a solid foundation of winning already. And I want to switch back to Tua for a second because I know he hasn't been asked to do a whole lot, and he's been compared to another quarterback that was drafted right after him, that being Justin Herbert, of course. And there's been a lot of nonsense on Twitter from Dolphins fans, not really Chargers fans, because I don't think there's so many of them online. They're not as vocal, perhaps on our feeds. But What do you think of all this Tua versus Herbert comparisons? People saying we should have taken Herbert, but all Tua does is win. You could say he's right now a game manager. He's not asked to do a lot, but Herbert's been put in a position with better offensive weapons and a better running game so far. And his team is,
Yeah,
I
but
believe, what 4-9, 5-9, and the
he's on
Dolphins are 9-5.
he's on a better team. If we've been honest, Herbert's on a better team. What I will say is this: Justin Herbert is the most talented quarterback in that class. It's not even close, so we can't say anything about it. It's not close at all.
Now you talk
So
like physical talent, like just a physically talent, but is he a better quarterback? Does he have better anticipation? Does he have better accuracy? Does he have better command of the huddle, the command of the game? There's a lot of other nuances, I think, to the quarterback position besides obviously the physical traits, which he has tremendously. I compare him sort of already to Josh Allen in his first season. I think he's a little bit better accuracy wise because Allen barely completed half his passes in his first year. But you look at Josh Allen in year three, he's really taken that next step. And look where the Buffalo offense, that the offense is really tremendous. And with the addition of Stephon Diggs, you can kind of look at the similarities with the Chargers with obviously Herbert and Keenan Allen with a true number one receiver. I think it's way too early to make the Tua versus Herbert comparisons. Flashback to obviously the most important draft for the Miami Dolphins, 1983, when Dan Marino fortuitously fell to the team after sort of an off year at Pittsburgh, and Miami grabs him late in the first round. And guys like obviously Elway and Jim Kelly, Ken O'Brien came out of that class as well. There could be more than one good quarterback in the class, and more than one team can get their guy. So
I think all three of the guys are gonna be good. I feel like it's just gonna be like Tua's gonna be the better winner out of the group. Herbert's gonna have the best stats, and I think Joe Burrow's gonna be he's gonna be good, but I don't think he's gonna go to the playoffs. He'll be that type of guy, like. So we'll have like a Tom Brady, Drew Brees, like Aaron Rodgers type thing. Aaron Rodgers could be not comparing them to each other, but Justin Herbert, because Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback ever to play the game. I know Mahomes just came along, but Rodgers and Mahomes are comparable. They do the same thing. So you just have to look at it like that.
yeah, I think the future is pretty bright for the AFC East with Allen and Tagovailoa obviously under center, and hopefully the Jets, they might have just screwed themselves out of Trevor Lawrence by winning that game last week. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all
Well, the
falls out.
next
But
the the next 2 years, quarterback class wise, is going to be very strong. So I think you're fine. Like I said, in 2 years, you're going to have that DJ Ooga Ooga guy from Clemson, whatever the hell his name is, future number one pick. So
they keep rolling them out there. But I want to go back in time a little bit because I know we've had a lot of discussions about number 25 on the Miami Dolphins, Xavier Howard, and where he ranks in the quarterback or cornerback tree, if you will. I know obviously Jakari has good insight on that position, having played it at the very high level. So I know you don't think Howard is the best cornerback in the NFL. I'm not going to revisit that, but do you think
no,
now he could be the best cornerback in the AFC?
no, not even the best cornerback on this team. Byron Jones is better. Xavier Howard's just benefited, just like J.C. Jackson is up in New England, from having a better guy on the other side. They rather take their chances against those guys than try to throw at Stephon Gilmore or throw at Byron Jones. But I think the best corner in the AFC is I think Tre'Davious White is better. It's proven he's better. I know a lot of fans don't agree, but White is the better player. It's okay. Like I say, Xavier Howard's a top 10 corner in the NFL, and that's how he is. That's what it is. So that's how I feel about it. I don't see what other guys can you throw out there in the AFC, but I think Tre'Davious is the best corner in the AFC, in my opinion.
Yeah, really better than Gilmore. AFC East
Oh,
got some good corners when you look at it
yeah.
now. It's like there's
I'm
some really good
tripping.
quarterbacks in the
But
AFC.
Gilmore's kind of having a bad year, so we got to give him a pass. But Gilmore has been the best corner in the league over the last 3 to 4 years. So I think it goes White, Gilmore. Well, I'm sorry, Gilmore, White. Um, How is the third best corner in this division? Actually, he's the fourth best corner in this division because uh, Gilmore, Jones, White, and then Howard.
So Howard's not even the best cornerback on the Dolphins.
No, Brown Jones by far. Look. I tell people all the time, interceptions don't matter at corner. Just because obviously if they're throwing at you more,
They
you
do
have
matter a
more
little
opportunity.
bit. Come on,
No,
they matter a little
because
bit.
okay, so look, let's put it like this: would you take Asante Samuel or would you take Deion Sanders?
That's. I would take Deion Sanders,
Okay, then. Hey, Deion didn't catch that many picks in his
but
career.
look what
Like,
else he did though. Look at the other
hey,
value he brought
so
as
what's
well.
the definition of a shutdown corner is what? Or would he just they don't throw at him, right? They're throwing at Xavier Howard, so that lets you know how they feel. And if it come up because he did drop a report, I think his name is the Armando guy from the Miami Herald dropped a report yesterday that Howard's going to be looking for more money this upcoming year, which is fine. It is what it is, but you'll see around the league they're not going to value him like that. At best, he'll get a second round. They'll get a second or third round pick for him if he has to get traded.
I think Howard is a little bit misunderstood with that. I mean, obviously, he just got a contract. I think it was a 1 year ago, and he's still playing on that deal. And he doesn't have a lot of leverage right now. But if he could take home the Defensive Player of the Year award, do you think he might be able to maybe renegotiate the back half of that contract a little bit and
Most
extend that out? I
most
mean,
Most definitely, he should. Like I said, I'm always going to be pro player when it comes to these situations. Most of the times, unless a guy just doing something utterly dumb, but I'm going to be pro player most of the time. But I think that he should capitalize on what he has. You know what I mean? He should capitalize on his season he's had because he's not going to have a season where he catches 9 interceptions. And if he wins Defensive Player of the Year, which he should, um, because he's having the best season out of the defensive players, then yes, you go ahead and put him. So I just don't. I'm capitalize off your momentum. That's all I can say. At cornerback, especially because when you're playing a lot of man coverage like the Dolphins do, you're gonna have bad seasons because you're getting put in positions to get beat. You're playing against the best athletes on the field at receiver, most explosive guys, and you just have to live with it. So you have to capitalize on what he has going right now. He can't turn that down. He has to put the Dolphins back against the fire and make Miami make a decision.
yeah, and I get it. You have only so many chances to really be able to re-up that and get on the right side of that financial situation. That last contract is going to be key, but I think how he fits into the offense, I think this system or the defense, excuse me, is going to benefit him more than maybe other places because he has that complimentary cornerback in Byron Jones across from him. That's going to put him in the spotlight a little bit more. But also, he's making the plays. He's taking it. He's not dropping those picks. You see other guys
He
drop
he
those
had
plays.
he
He's
has great ball
capitalizing on it.
skills. He has great
You,
ball skills. Him and J.C. Jackson have elite ball skills. You can tell they probably played receiver back in their days.
yeah, and his anticipation is really good. And I think he studies the game. He's obviously breaking down the receiver's tendencies and the route combos. He knows what's happening on there almost in real time, which gives him a huge advantage. And I think he has the physical tools out there to close on the ball. He's not a burner out there, obviously, like the Byron Jones, but he's really good closing and kind of getting in that gap and getting his
At
hands on interceptions.
at corner, when you play DB at college, NFL, whatever, you're gonna always get opportunities to catch interceptions. It's just the guys who catch them, they have the better numbers because think about in a year where you watch the games, how many times do you see a DB drop interceptions?
All the time.
DBs probably typically drop 10 to 15 picks in a year. Um, and that's why they have such low pick numbers. Oh, they have 5, but if you run the film back and watch the games, they could have had 10 to 15. You just have
Yeah,
to
which
catch them.
pass breakups are important, obviously. So
Yes.
you got to look at the big picture, and like you said, if they're not throwing at guys, and there's a lot of factors that go into grading cornerbacks, which I think you got to take a little bit beyond the statistics. And I always like to say the film doesn't lie. You can look if guys are in position, if they're just getting lucky, if the scheme is helping them, and I think that's been a lot of like a guy like Emmanuel Agba's success is in the scheme. He's not going to be putting up
Yes, it's
these sack
not.
numbers
Yes, and people.
in a
Oh
different
no, he
program.
deserves. No, man, that's all scheme. Man, it's not nothing he's doing. He's not winning 1-on-1, and that. like I said, that's hurt Miami not having an elite pass rusher because they don't have a guy who they can just tee off. And the AFC for the next foreseeable years, you're gonna have to be able to win with four down linemen because the quarterbacks are just too good. You got Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield's having a good season, Lamar Jackson, um, Josh Allen. The list goes on. The AFC is going to be very hard, man, over the coming years. They have the best quarterbacks like coming. It's kind of going to be like how the NFC was.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the Dolphins, who should they look at in the draft at wide receiver? And should they go wide receiver with that Houston pick? There's been a lot of talk lately about if maybe like a Parsons falls or going even with the edge rusher like a Rousseau. But I think Miami has to go with the big play wide receiver with that
They
top
have to
pick.
go, and my receiver one, and I've been on record for the longest saying this. Jalen Waddle, receiver one. I think he's the best guy for the offense. You can do so much with him, lining up in the backfield on third down, put him at receiver. It's just a lot of things you can do with him, and I just think that's the best. He's the best candidate right now. I think he's the best fit for Miami's offense. I think also Miami should double down if one of those guys fall, either Smith or Rondale Moore is another guy I love. If they fall, you double down at receiver. But Jalen Waddle's the best receiver in this draft. If Chase falls all the way down in the teens, you take him. But Waddle's the best receiver in the draft. And Devontae Smith numbers are loaded at Bama because Waddle has not been playing. So that's why his numbers have been so high. But Waddle's better, in my opinion, and I think he's better for what the Dolphins need on offense.
You think his speed is what really separates him? Because people say Devontae Smith isn't. I mean, he's gonna probably run a sub 4.5. I know that's something he's been working
Yes.
on. He's been around a low 4.5 guy, whereas obviously Waddle was running in that high 4.2 range. So that's a big difference, obviously, when it comes to over the top speed. But Devontae Smith has the route running ability. Like if you want to take the Alabama comps, I think obviously Waddle would maybe go back to like a Ruggs comp, whereas
No. Waddle's comp for me only like his only comp is Tyreek Hill, and he's a young Steve Smith. If you ever watched Steve Smith when he was in his prime, like a young Steve Smith, he was burning. He was a burner, just like how Waddle was. Short, stocky guy, made plays over the middle, running
but Ruggs was a
reverses.
sub 4.3 guy too, right? Ruggs
Yeah,
can move.
but it's not the same. I think like you have to think about it is what translate more to football is guys with elite acceleration. Like Tyreek, it's a lot of fast guys, but Tyreek Hill separates himself because of his 0 to 60. Like he can just be like
Hence, hence Cheetah. Hence why he calls
yes.
himself Cheetah because
So
it's,
and
it's
that's
the
and
it's
that's
the
what
burn.
and that's what Waddle has. Waddle has elite acceleration. Like his 0 to 60 is very, very, very elite. So some of the people were saying at Alabama that Ruggs, like in the first 20 yards, Ruggs could not beat Jalen Waddle in running.
Yeah, he's more of a long strider. I think he hits the top end in that second half of the 40, whereas Waddle he kind of blazes from the jump. And now you look at a comment here from Michael Chase, better than Waddle. Chase is more of a possession receiver. I mean, he's got
Correct.
great ball skills. He's got great feet, excellent hands, but he doesn't fit what the Dolphins need. I
Now if
think.
you now if you can double down with a Waddle in the chase, then that's different. But if it's me, like I said, I've been on record for the longest. Jalen Waddle, receiver number one, and that's who Miami should take. He fits what they need on offense, and he can alleviate a lot of problems right away.
Yeah, so I think that's the missing piece for the Dolphins is going to be an explosive wide receiver and then somebody to bring in into the running back room, whether it's a Najee Harris or somebody else, I think, to complement this group. But we're going to see somebody from this running back core in 2020 stick. One or two of these guys is going to stick and have a very prominent role next year, but it's just kind of shuffling those other number two, number three type running backs out, getting a true elite RB1 and then having a couple of these guys return to
I
more of a
just, I
complementary
just,
role.
I just think what we've been talking about in the past. Aaron Jones is the best fit for them right now. Pay him, um, and just go on because Tua's on a rookie deal. We don't have too many people we need to play right now. Our best players are rookies right now, if we're being honest.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's a good problem to have. So we're going to switch gears here in the last few minutes of the show. Obviously, a lot of you follow the network for our Miami Heat coverage, and we're going to have a ton going on tonight as the Heat open things up at Orlando. A little bit of a disrespect there, I think, on the schedule, given the middle of the week game at Orlando to the Eastern Conference champs to open up the season. I know Miami doesn't really care about that, and it's always us against the world mentality for the Heat. But I just think that it could have got a little bit better opening to the season for Miami fans. But let's just take what they give us. It's been not so long since we had basketball. It seems like it was just the other day that the Miami Heat were wrapping up the finals against the Lakers. So quick turnaround for the team. I'm excited for NBA and for what we're going to be doing here at the network with our Heat coverage all season long. So I'm excited to see the new players like Harkless and Bradley, how they're going to fit in. I think Spo's going to have some short rotations early in the season till he kind of finds the mix at work. But I'm excited to see the new depth on this team and what the second unit's going to look like. What are you looking to see in the first game for the Miami Heat tonight, Jock?
Just to see how the continuity is. Adding, their team hasn't changed much, but just to see if they still are in the tune. You kind of seen the Lakers come out last night; they were a little bit sluggish. Just to see how Miami recovers body wise. They just played a season not too long ago, so you just want to see them keep the same intensity and see. You're gonna see tonight, where Miami is, what young players have taken their step forward. Obviously interested to see the rotation. I want to see if KZ cracked the rotation. So I just want to see that, and I want to see how Tyler Hero comes out in year two. I do have Tyler Hero going over his prize pick projection because I do think he has an explosive night against Orlando.
You think
So
he
I just want
starts?
to. I think so. I
I
think
mean,
he's
you definitely know Bam, Butler, and Robinson are going to start. So it's curious to see how those last two, whether maybe KZ could get the start in there, whether it be like maybe a different
no
combo like a
Harkless.
Harkless.
Harkless will be in there at
Yeah,
the
so that
four.
fifth, maybe Bradley.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could this could be a start the starting five right here. That's definitely possible. ENFD 85. That's not out of the realm of possibilities right there. I'm curious to see how they're going to play Bam. Switching him back between the 4 and the 5, and if he can open up that mid range jump shot, this offense is going to be
Yeah, and I,
scary. And
and, and I want to see him hit some threes. I just want to see them. Like I said, we really don't know what to expect out of this NBA season, to be honest, just because it's been such a short turnaround. And you got a team like, the Heat who just got through playing. So it's just interesting to see how Miami is going to handle, like, is Coach Spo going to be lenient with the minutes? Is he just going to play people? I do think Miami opens up the season with a W though against the Magic. I do say that because I think the Jonathan Isaac is out. I think he should be out because I think he tore his ACL in the bubble. Huh?
yeah, he's out. So
Yeah.
they're gonna be struggling, I think, a little bit early in the season. But I'm looking for Miami to start the season, hopefully with some good energy and not still kind of fatigue from that short postseason, if you will. Obviously, we know how the heat conditioning and everything like that. I don't see that being a problem. They should have pretty sharp early going, I think, with Robinson and Hero. I think we're going to be able to shoot the ball pretty well against Orlando, and I'm curious to see kind of how the defense plays, and if we have that same intensity on defense for 48 minutes early in the season to kind of get us going, get us back on track and in the winning mindset. But I'm excited that NBA is back. We've got a lot of great content coming out on the network this week. Going to have the pregame show tonight. I think is at
Man,
6:15.
yeah. Do you think that James Harden gonna make his way to Miami?
I don't know. He's trying everything he can to get himself out of Houston. He's on the lineup tonight with Houston, right?
Yeah.
They
Well, it depends if he because he violated the rules with the stripper thing, so we'll see.
yeah. Yeah, you can't get that stuff on video. If you're gonna act the fool, at least don't let anybody video it. I mean, you got to do that stuff kind of low key. We know what happens. Listen, we know these guys are out there doing stuff on their own time, and it's their life. They're grown men, but you're gonna have consequences for your actions, just like with any other profession
What's your
or
what's
anything else you do in life.
what's your prediction tonight?
For tonight,
Yeah.
I think it could be a little bit of a sloppy game early, but I think in the second half, Miami's just the better team. I think they're a deeper team than Orlando at this point, And I got the Heat 115 to 107.
I got Miami 105, 100.
All right, there it is. So we both picked the W for the Heat, and going to have a lot of coverage pre and post game tonight on the Five Reasons Network. Make sure to like and subscribe as well to the Five Reasons YouTube channel. Want to thank everybody for catching up with the Miami Sports Break, and of course, Jakari, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everybody out there. And we'll probably be back next Tuesday with a new show. We're going to recap everything from the weekend with the
Yeah,
Dolphins and the Raiders.
Hurricanes play on the 29th as well, so we'll be there for coverage on the bowl game.
Yeah, we're going to preview that exciting Cheez-It Bowl matchup. That's actually a really good matchup with Oklahoma State. I believe outside of the New Year's Six, this is the only bowl matchup with two top 25 teams. So it's going to be a good game, and I'm excited to see the Hurricanes, how they're going to bounce back, obviously, after that embarrassment against North Carolina. And Miami's only won one bowl game, I think, in the last 15 years. So Mike Gundy is 9-5 in bowl games, the Oklahoma State coach. So Manny Diaz really needs to end this season on a high note with the Hurricanes. So we're going to have a lot about that on Tuesday and a lot more from the Heat as well. So want to thank everybody for joining us, and